A rectangle is a four-sided figure or a quadrilateral that has the opposite sides the same length, and the angles are all equal in measure, and we call those angles right angles. Notice they come straight, this line comes straight down here. It makes actually what we call a 90-degree angle or a right angle. And I'll mark the opposite sides the same length. And if you want to show somebody that you have a right angle, you put a little square in the corner. That indicates that you have a right angle. So this is a rectangle. And we're used to referring to a rectangle, we talk about its length and its width. Usually we let this dimension be the length, so it has a length here and a length up here. And these dimensions we refer to as the width of the rectangle. So a rectangle is one of the special four-sided figures that we want to work with. Another four-sided figure that we're interested in, and you're probably familiar with, is a square. Square is very similar to a rectangle. In fact, square is actually a special rectangle. It has four sides. It has all right angles. But it has all the sides the same length. So I'm going to mark all my sides the same length. So in a square, all sides are equal, all angles are right angles. Remember, in a rectangle, only the opposite sides are equal. Now we have one more special four-sided figure that we're going to talk about today. There are actually some others, but these are the three we're going to work with today. And that's a parallelogram. A parallelogram looks very much like a rectangle, but you might say it's been squashed a little bit, or its sides are slanted. What happens is you still have your opposite sides the same length, but you don't have the right angles. What happens is, what we say is our opposite sides are equal in length and parallel. By parallel, we mean that the opposite sides have the same slant to them. Notice they slant the same way. They always stay the same distance apart. And if you extended the lines out, they would never cross. The top and the bottom have the same slant to them too. But you don't have those right angles formed here. So you notice a little tilt in it when you think about the parallelogram. So we'll be working with rectangles, squares, and parallelograms when we're working with four-sided figures. Now that we've learned about some of our special figures, we want to talk about the perimeter of a figure. And actually, we can find the perimeter pretty easily of any kind of polygon. It doesn't just have to be a triangle or a quadrilateral. When you're looking for the perimeter of a figure, you're concerned with the distance around the figure, the distance around the outside. Perimeter is important when you're putting a border around something and you want to see how far around you have to go to do the border. If you're putting up a fence, anytime you're going around the outside of a shape, you're interested in the perimeter. For some special figures, there are formulas to find perimeter. But the easiest way to find perimeter is just to add up all your sides. To find the perimeter of any kind of polygon, no matter how many sides it has, all you have to do is to find the length. Find the sum, remember sum means to add, of the length of its sides. So all you really have to do, if you know how long all your sides are just add all your sides together. So let's find the perimeters of some polygons. Let's look at this figure. Okay, this is not either a triangle or a quadrilateral. Let's count. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sides. It's actually a pentagon is a 5-sided figure. But we know how long all the sides are, so we certainly could find the perimeter. All we'd have to do is add up all those side lengths. So I put down all the side lengths. 3, 5, 7, 2, and 6. These are all measured in centimeters. Centimeters is a metric measurement that we'll talk about in another lesson. A centimeter is about the width of a Bayer aspirin, if you want to think about how big a centimeter is. So these sides are all measured in centimeters. If we add all those up, 3 and 5 is 8, and 7 is 15, and 2 is 17, and 6 is 23. And we come up with 23 centimeters, and that's our perimeter. So when you're finding perimeter, don't forget to put your unit of measurement down. So we need to have the 23 centimeters is our perimeter. The next figure we want to find the perimeter of is an equilateral triangle. And I've told you with a side equal to 6 inches. Well, if it's an equilateral triangle, I hope you remember that that means all of our sides are the same length. So we'd actually have a 6 here, a 6 here, and a 6 here. So all 3 of those sides would be 6 inches. So if we added those 3 together, or you could either say 3 times 6, whichever you'd prefer, you'd come up with 18. And don't forget that we're dealing with inches. These are really all 6 inches. So the perimeter of that equilateral triangle would be 18 inches. So what we're saying is the distance around the outside of that triangle is 18 inches. Let's look at another figure. This time we want to work with a rectangle. Let's move it over a little bit so we can see it better. We want to find the perimeter of a rectangle that has length 10 feet and width 2 feet 8 inches. Well, when we say the length is 10 feet, there are 2 dimensions that represent the length. So we'd have 10 feet here, and we'd also have 10 feet here. And then our width is 2 feet and 8 inches, so we need to put 2 feet and 8 inches. And then of course over here we have 2 feet and 8 inches. And to find the perimeter, we just add all those up. So I've written all those down. We have the 2 10s and the 2 feet and 8 inches. We add all that up, we come up with 16 inches and 24 feet. Now, when you're dealing with feet and inches, you remember you have to always make sure that you don't have enough inches to make an extra foot. If you do, you want to carry that foot over with the other feet. So let's see what you remember about our denominant numbers. If you remember, there are 12 inches in 1 foot. So since we have 12 inches, we have more than we want to leave here. So I need to take that 12 inches away and put that 12 inches over with my feet. That would add 1 foot over here. So what's going to happen is we're going to end up with 25 feet and 4 inches. And that's the way you'd want to leave your answer, as 25 feet and 4 inches.